22 years on the waterfront district. Station 22. I ran engine 22 for the last 11 of those, which means I ran every grain elevator fire, every rail yard call, every chemical spill that rolled off the river barges between the 9th Street Bridge and the old shipping terminal. You see enough of that and you stop being surprised by much. But that grain elevator fire in '07, that one I still carry. The Midwest Grain and Storage Complex sat at 4400 River Road. 6 concrete silos, each about 140 feet tall, built in '38, shut down in '94 after some EPA violation. Chain link fence around the whole property, razor wire on top, condemned notices every 20 feet. Kids still got in. Taggers, scrappers, the usual. We'd run calls out there twice a year. Somebody cooking meth in the loading dock office, homeless guy with a barrel fire. Nuisance stuff. But every firefighter in the department knew why you didn't mess around at 4400 River Road. Because of '89. November 14th, 1989, Ladder 8 responded to a grain dust ignition in silo number 4. 3 firefighters went up the interior catwalk system to ventilate. The catwalk gave out. Lieutenant Mike Brannick and firefighters Dominguez and Parrish fell 60 feet into the silo pit. All 3 were LOD. Department disbanded Ladder 8 after that. The rig got reassigned. The house got turned into record storage. Nobody talked about it much, but everybody knew. You learned the address your first week out of the academy. Respect the ground, respect the dead. I had a probie that fall. Tommy Delacroix. 6 months in, bright kid, strong back, volunteered for everything. The kind of firefighter you want coming through your door. Except he asked too many questions. Read every NIOSH report in the station library. Kept cornering the old guys about the '89 fire. I told him 3 times to let it go. Some fires you don't need to understand. You just need to know the address and respect what happened there. October 9th, 2007. 3 days of nothing on the board. Rain coming down steady since Monday, the kind that keeps people inside and the runs quiet. We'd done apparatus check, hose testing, cleaned the kitchen twice because there was nothing else to do. I was in my bunk reading a paperback. Tommy was downstairs with Vasquez and Hendricks playing spades. Tones dropped at 2:14. Working fire. 4400 River Road. Midwest Grain and Storage. Caller reported flames visible from the roadway. You hear that address at 2 in the morning and something in your gut locks up. Doesn't matter how many years you have. Everybody on the rig felt it. I called for a second alarm before we cleared the bay doors. Grain elevator, confined spaces, collapse history. You don't mess around with that. We pulled up River Road and I could see it from 4 blocks out. Orange glow pulsing against the low clouds, reflecting off the river like the water was burning too. Smoke pushing hard from the loading dock side, ground level, rolling black and heavy across the parking lot. Not a fast fire, more like it had been eating for a while, chewing through the old conveyor system in the office space on the south end. I established command in Alpha Sector, set up the accountability board, and got the first line on the loading dock exposure. Engine 17 had the hydrant. Truck 5 was laddering the Charlie side for aerial ops. I sent Tommy and Vasquez in for a primary search of the office wing. 2 in, 2 out, stay on the first floor, stay on your search rope, report every 2 minutes. They went in. Radio checks came back clean. Engine 22 interior to command, light smoke, moderate heat, visibility about 4 feet on the TSC. Moving south corridor through the office area, no victims found. Good copy. I was standing at the command post, marking positions on the tactical worksheet when I heard it. A click on the tactical channel. Someone keying a mic and not talking. 3 seconds of dead air with just breathing, not panting, slow breathing, like somebody standing still in the dark, holding the talk button, listening. I keyed up. Command to all units, check your radios. Somebody's got a stuck mic. Everybody reported normal. Engine 17 normal, Truck 5 normal, Tommy and Vasquez normal, Battalion 3 en route normal. I wrote it off. Dead key, glove on the button, happens 10 times a fire. You write it off because the alternative doesn't help anybody. That was the first one. Tommy and Vasquez were 12 minutes into their search when Vasquez called in. Engine 22, interior to command. Pause. We got a situation, Cap. Delacroix got off the rope. My teeth clamped together so hard I tasted copper. Getting off the search rope in a grain elevator complex at 2 in the morning, that's the kind of mistake that ends up in a NIOSH report. I keyed up and told Vasquez to give me details. He said Tommy spotted something on the tick, a heat signature, person-shaped, second level, moving along what looked like the old catwalk towards Silo 4. Tommy dropped the rope and went after it. Up a stairwell Vasquez didn't even see until Tommy was through the door. Vasquez called him 3 times on the portable. Nothing. I made the decision, pulled the RIT team, Hendricks and Batista, grabbed my own SCBA and mask, and went in. 4 of us. Vasquez stayed at the last known position on the search rope to anchor. If everything went sideways, that rope was our way out. The loading dock office wing was what you'd expect. Drop ceiling tiles sagging, cinder block walls, commercial carpet over slab, fire working the east end toward the silos. Our section was tenable. Dirty smoke banked to about 4 feet, maybe 300 at ceiling. On your knees with the tick you could see. Manageable. But the building was wrong. I'd reviewed the pre-plan for 4400 River Road more times than I can count. Office wing was simple. 80 by 40, single story, partial mezzanine on the north end. Utility closet at the base of the north wall. No second floor access. No connection to the silo catwalks. Not anymore. Except now there was a stairwell where the utility closet should have been. Steel door, crash bar, the kind you see in commercial occupancies. It went up, and the mezzanine opened onto a catwalk system that stretched out over the loading dock and curved towards silo number 4. I knew that catwalk collapsed in 1989. 3 men fell through it. The NIOSH report documented it. The department verified it in the 2004 pre-plan update. Never rebuilt. But I was standing on it. Metal grating under my boots, solid, no flex. Handrails on both sides bolted tight. The catwalk stretched ahead into the dark, curving right toward the silo. My tick showed something I'd never seen. The temperature was going down, not holding, dropping. The deeper we went toward the silo, the colder it got. 200 degrees, 180, 140. Hendricks was behind me. He grabbed my coat and said, "Cap, this ain't right," like I needed somebody to spell it out for me. I keyed up. RIT to command. We're on the catwalk system, second level, north side of the office wing, heading towards Silo 4. Be advised, the catwalk is intact. I know what the pre-plan says. I'm on it. Battalion Chief Kowalski came back slow. Engine 22, repeat your last. I repeated. There was a long silence on the channel. Then Kowalski, careful, like he was choosing each word. Engine 22, that catwalk does not exist. Withdraw from the second level and exit the structure immediately. I was reaching for my mic to respond when the mayday dropped. Mayday, mayday, mayday. The voice was calm. The kind of calm you only hear from someone who's been in tight spots before and knows panic won't get him out. Steady, measured, like he was reading from a textbook. Ladder 8, roof to command. Firefighter down. Catwalk level 4, Northside Junction. Unconscious and low on air. Lunar report follows. Location, North Catwalk, junction at Silo 4. Unit, Ladder 8. Name, 3 seconds of static. Then the voice came back, clear as glass. Brannick. Assignment, Roof Division. Resources needed, RIT, immediately. How copy? Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Ladder 8 hadn't existed for 18 years. The rigs were reassigned, the house closed, the riding list dissolved, and Mike Brannick was in the ground at Holy Cross Cemetery on the east side. Kowalski keyed up. His voice was different. Thin. stripped down to something I'd never heard from him in 20 years. Not on the command channel, on tactical, like he forgot where he was. "That's Mike," he said. "That's Mike Brannick's voice. I was his probie. I know his voice." I had maybe 4 seconds to make a decision. Follow a mayday call from a dead man on a catwalk that doesn't exist inside a building that's rewriting its own floor plan, or pull my team out and leave my probie in there. I went forward. The catwalk narrowed past the junction, metal groaning under our weight, not from heat expansion, from load, like the structure was adjusting to the fact that we were there. My tick was useless. Screen showed blue, 62 degrees. In the middle of a 2-alarm fire, 62 degrees. I switched it off and used my flashlight. We pushed forward another 40 feet. The smoke thinned out, not because we were moving away from the fire. It just cleared, like whatever was burning existed on the other side of some line we'd crossed. I could still taste smoke through my regulator, but it was wrong, old, stale, like smoke that had been trapped in these walls for years. Then Hendricks grabbed my shoulder and pointed his light down. Tommy. He was on his side on the catwalk grating. Facepiece fogged solid, low air alarm chirping that steady pulse. 5 minutes of air, maybe less. His gloves were off, both of them, set neatly beside him like he'd taken them off on purpose. His bare right hand was gripping a catwalk handrail crusted with rust, so thick it looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. But there were fingerprints in the rust, not Tommy's. A second set, bigger, wrapped around Tommy's wrist from the other side of the rail. Like someone had reached through the handrail and held on to him, kept him from going over the edge. We got him on air. Buddy breathed off Batista's bottle and started dragging him back toward the stairwell. He came around halfway down the catwalk, eyes wild behind his facepiece. He grabbed my coat and pulled himself close enough that I could see his pupils through the fogged lens. "Cap, someone was up here with me." His voice was muffled through the mask, but I heard every word. He had a flashlight, old-style turnout coat, the long one, like in those pictures at the academy. He told me to stop moving, said, "Stay put, Tommy, I'm getting your captain." Then he keyed his radio and called it in. I didn't answer. I just kept moving us toward the stairwell. We made it out. All 4 of us, plus Tommy. PAR count came back correct. Every firefighter on scene accounted for. The fire went defensive 20 minutes later. Surround and drown. Nobody was going back inside that building for any reason. The grain elevator was a total loss by dawn. Here's where it gets, I was gonna say where it gets weird, but it stopped being normal a long time before this. The radio log. Dispatch records every transmission. Time-stamped, source-tagged. The Mayday was there, time-stamped Zoo 247. Duration 11 seconds. Source unidentified. The digital repeater couldn't tag it because the signal didn't come through digital. But the old analog backup was still running. Legacy equipment from the 90s that nobody pulled after the '05 upgrade. Analog doesn't tag by unit, it tags by serial number burned into the hardware. The serial number was A7734. I looked it up. Portable radio A7734 was issued to LeMichael T. Brannick, Ladder Company 8, March 1987. Recovered from his body after the '89 collapse. Placed in the memorial case at the training academy in 1990. I went to the academy. Memorial case in the front lobby. Glass, locked, bolted to the wall. Brannick's helmet, his badge, a folded flag, and his portable. Right where it's been for 17 years. But the director showed me the environmental monitor, temperature and humidity logger, standard for memorial artifacts. On October 9, 2007, at 2:47 hours, the temperature inside the sealed case spiked from 68 degrees to 104. Held for 11 seconds, exactly the duration of the transmission. Then back to 68. Nothing disturbed, glass intact, lock untouched. But for 11 seconds, something in that sealed case got as warm as a living hand on a mic. I put in my papers 6 weeks later. Tommy transferred to a slow house up on the north side. Ladder company, residential district, nothing taller than 3 stories. Hendricks retired the following spring. Kowalski stayed on until his 30, but never worked another fire at 4400 River Road. Nobody did. The complex was demolished in '09. I still have my portable from that night. It's in a shoebox in my garage, top shelf, behind the Christmas lights. Battery's been dead for years. At least, I think it's dead. I've never actually checked, never wanted to, because sometimes, and I know how this sounds, I know what you're thinking, sometimes around 2:47 in the morning, I hear it chirp. Just once. One short tone, like somebody keying a mic to let you know they're still